Easy guys, Harvey Creatures here. Hope you're all well. Just wanted to pop back and sort of catch up with a couple of tutorials. There's been a few missed. Unfortunately, I've been traveling for gigs around sort of Europe lately, so apologies for the slight delay in this video being posted. But what I wanted to do was pretty much a relatively short and simple video just around Reese basses. Something which is fundamental, I find, to my production style. Something which is fundamental to drum and bass. It's in many of the classic tunes. You know, it's a sound that you'll recognise and a sound that, you know, people use different versions and modulations of on a consistent level. So I wanted to initially look at something very simple and then kind of see if we could go a bit further. So first of all, I'm just going to open Serum on the init preset. So just what it basically opens up as. No stress, no worries. Just basically opens up nice and simple. And you get that horrible sound out of it. I need to remove the patrons a second. But yeah, so horrible but familiar sound that we're used to. So there's a couple of different ways of going about this initially. There's a couple of different things that you can do to kind of decide how you're going to do it. So within Serum, there's a lot of control, as we are aware, and you've got this unison button. So essentially, to explain what a Reese bass is, I can show you in two ways. But what it is two sounds which are slightly detuned, which then create oscillation. So basically, it starts to wobble. So if I show you by turning the unison on, I'm going to turn random off and phase to about 180. Sorry. And yeah, just basically turn the unison up. So it's starting to make some weird sounds, and that's to do with the amount of detune and blending that's going on between essentially 12 voices or 12 versions of the same sound that's here. So that's probably the easiest way of doing it, but I think you lose a little bit of control when you're at the mercy of Serum and how it decides to make it sound. So basically, essentially the same is to create a duplicate oscillator or use your second oscillator in Serum, and essentially detune that one via either fine or semitones if you want to kind of go a little bit crazy. So you can start to notice a similar effect. So on 0 again, it's almost a pure tone, and then when we start to bring this up, it's essentially phasing or oscillating between the two separate waveforms. So sounds a bit crazy, I know, but in terms of going from here, it can be quite simple in terms of how to make it sound good. I think this is why it was used a lot back in there, sort of years ago, because it was one of those things which you could get a very good solid sound out of without doing too much and create interesting melodies. So for instance, if we use a filter and put them both through rather than just one, you start to get like some interesting kind of build and sort of falls which are following the sound. Another one which people use quite a lot is kind of the mono legato. So you can sort of pitch it. Yeah, again, not sounding super duper cool. So what you probably use is like some modulation. So we've kind of got that on here. Maybe on the resonance as well a little bit. Just get a bit more bite. And then effect wise, we're going to add some distortion, some hyperdimension, some compression. So let's have a look at the distortion. We can obviously add some other things in, like an LFO to open some sort of movement. So if we try like 4 triplets. So, like I say, there's lots of different applications for this that you could use it for. Let's try and boost some crazy harmonic and see. you get some really interesting sounds out of it. Now, I'm obviously just using one type of waveform, so you can obviously go through and kind of use whatever. I've got some interesting ones from Massive here. I don't know if you guys have seen these, but there's a pack which is basically Massive wavetable for Serum, and the sine to square is really good because it kind of goes from like subby to like opening up a bit, so you can get some really interesting kind of movements with all of it. If we also put the macro on the wavetable position, for instance, and then we just draw in a nice little, I don't know, one note, just for the simpleness. Be good if I pitched it down properly. But yeah, kind of lose a little bit of the opening sort of tops that we need. So I'm going to go back to basic shapes, which is now going to change, which I don't really want. So actually, let's try sort of on triangle, something a little bit more. And this is a bit annoying as well. So I might actually just turn this off. Yeah, you can get some really interesting sounds out of it, essentially. And one of the main ones that used to be done all the time was just a sine wave Reese, which then distorted and pushed. So the movement's also coming from, so we can slow it down from the amount they're oscillating being off pitch. So there you go. Quite simple yet again, like I was saying, nothing too intense or anything like that. It was just to kind of showcase some of the Reese basses and how quickly they are to make. I'm not making them sound amazing. They're just kind of the basic patches, which obviously I want you to build on and kind of, you know, add some more harmonics and get them to sound cool. But yeah, just an easy way of getting some quick movement and the sub wobbles that are in everyone's favourite jungle tune. So yeah, any questions or anything like that, let me know. Head over to the Patreon as always, www.patreon.com/creaturesdnb. Obviously, always a massive shout out to all the sponsors as well. Devious Machines, which is deviousmachines.com, and Roland.com as well, who also sort of specialise with a range of software and hardware, which I'm sure you've all heard of. Yeah, finally, there is Dose CBD, which are another amazing company which are offering a range of CBD products to help get people off of something else, which I won't talk about on here. But yeah, really interesting product. And if you want to find out any more, then either hit me up or head over to dosecbd.co.uk. So big love to everyone that's watching. Also head over to the Patreon for extra content and this month's Dub Wars competition. So yeah, enjoy, and I'll catch you all in a week's time.